Get out. You don't belong here.
This area is for distinguished guests only. Jessica, the hotel manager, swept her gaze over the young black woman with undisguised contempt. Olivia felt her breath catch in her throat. The sudden hostility hit her like a physical blow, leaving her momentarily speechless. She had done nothing wrong. She was simply a paying guest like anyone else in this upscale establishment. "I'm not leaving," Olivia finally responded, her voice steady despite the anger bubbling inside her. "I paid for my stay here. I have every right to be in this lounge area, and I'll stay until I choose to leave." Jessica's eyes narrowed dangerously, her lips pressing into a thin line of disapproval. Several nearby guests glanced up from their conversations, some watching with uncomfortable expressions while others quickly averted their eyes, pretending not to notice the confrontation unfolding. "If you refuse to comply," Jessica said, loud enough for others to hear, "I'll have security escort you out." The threat hung in the air between them, heavy with injustice and prejudice. A middle-aged couple at the next table exchanged troubled glances, while a businessman sitting alone frowned deeply but remained silent. Olivia was humiliated but stood her ground, unaware that her connection to one of the city's most influential figures was about to turn this encounter on its head. Before we continue with Olivia's story, we'd love to know where you're watching from today. Do you believe everyone deserves equal treatment, regardless of their appearance? Show your support by hitting the subscribe button right now, and don't forget to like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Olivia Evans entered one of the city's most prestigious hotels, eager to enjoy a relaxing weekend during her business trip. She had high hopes for this stay, believing it would be the most thrilling weekend of her life. Stepping out of the cab and onto the lively city streets, she adjusted her tailored suit with a sense of pride. In her late 20s, Olivia had already achieved what many only dreamed of. She was making her mark in the fashion industry and was becoming a well-known name. As she approached the towering hotel, excitement coursed through her veins. This was not just any hotel. It was a hub for elite clientele, making it the perfect choice for her important business conference. The lobby was breathtaking, with marble floors gleaming under elegant chandeliers, and polished wood at the front desk exuding sophistication. Everything about the hotel signified wealth and exclusivity. As Olivia walked confidently through the lobby, the click of her heels echoed against the polished marble, creating a sense of anticipation. She was greeted by the receptionist's polite smile, but was soon overshadowed by Jessica, the hotel manager, who radiated authority. Dressed sharply in a business suit, Jessica's perfectly styled blonde hair added to her imposing presence. Without a moment's hesitation, she turned to a well-dressed white woman who had just entered, completely ignoring Olivia, who was standing right in front of her. "Excuse me, miss. Let me assist you first," Jessica said warmly, directing her attention to the other woman. Olivia blinked in disbelief. Was she really being overlooked in such a blatant manner? The receptionist hesitated, glancing between Olivia and the woman. But with a single look from Jessica, she redirected her focus entirely. All the while, Olivia stood frozen, her mind racing as she tried to comprehend the unfolding situation. The other woman moved to the counter, seemingly oblivious to the tension, while Olivia was left feeling invisible in a space she had every right to occupy. As the woman completed her transaction with Jessica, Olivia felt a wave of frustration wash over her. The woman walked past her without a glance, and Olivia clenched her fists, fighting against the heat rising in her chest. After the woman left, Jessica turned back to Olivia, still wearing a tight smile. "Sorry about that, ma'am. Let me assist you now," she said, her tone dripping with condescension. "Why did you help her first?" Olivia asked, her voice steady but demanding an explanation. Jessica's smile faltered for a brief moment, revealing a flicker of discomfort. "Well, ma'am, it's our policy to prioritize exclusive guests," she replied, her tone dismissive. Olivia's eyes narrowed. "Exclusive guests? You mean people who look like her?" The words struck Jessica harder than she expected, causing a brief silence to settle between them. With a cool demeanor, Jessica replied, "It's just how we handle things here, ma'am. It's nothing personal, just the way things are done." Her voice was firm, but Olivia could sense the underlying tension as she scanned Olivia's appearance with a lingering gaze. "Name, please," Jessica asked, her tone flat and almost dismissive. Taking a deep breath, Olivia responded, "Olivia Evans," handing over her reservation details. Jessica's disinterest was palpable as she continued typing on her keyboard, the coldness in her demeanor only heightening Olivia's feelings of exclusion.
"Seems you booked a standard room, Miss Evans," Jessica said condescendingly. "Are you sure that's what you wanted? The hotel typically reserves special rooms for clients of your caliber." A wave of indignation surged through Olivia. "I'm fine with the room I've booked, thank you," she replied tightly, feeling the weight of judgment pressing down on her. After receiving her keycard, Olivia turned toward the elevator, determined not to let Jessica's prejudice dampen her spirit. As she settled into her spacious room, the luxurious surroundings offered her a moment of solace, but her encounter with Jessica lingered in her mind. She decided to head down to the hotel lounge, seeking a quiet place to unwind before the conference. Entering the lounge, the plush armchairs and soft lighting momentarily eased her tension. However, when her eyes met Jessica's across the room, the cold stare returned, making her feel unwelcome yet again. As Jessica approached, the atmosphere thickened with anticipation, and Olivia's heartbeat quickened, knowing a confrontation was imminent. "Excuse me, ma'am, but this area is for distinguished guests only," Jessica said, her gaze dismissive as she surveyed Olivia. "I'm a guest here," Olivia replied, her voice steady, despite the turmoil within her. She wanted to explain her right to be there, but Jessica was not interested in listening. "You're going to need to head back to your room or find somewhere else to wait," Jessica insisted, making it clear that Olivia's presence was unwelcome. Feeling humiliated but determined, Olivia resolved not to let Jessica's prejudice dictate her experience. After Jessica's dismissive remarks, Olivia felt a mix of anger and embarrassment wash over her. Standing her ground, she took a deep breath and said firmly, "I'm not going anywhere. I am a paying guest here, and I have every right to be in this lounge until I decide to leave." Jessica's eyes flashed with irritation, but Olivia's unwavering resolve caught her off guard. "If you don't leave, I'll have to call security to remove you," Jessica threatened, her voice cold and authoritative. The tension in the air was palpable, and several guests nearby turned their heads, intrigued by the unfolding drama. A young couple at a nearby table exchanged uneasy glances, while an older gentleman shook his head disapprovingly, clearly uncomfortable with the situation. Olivia's heart raced, but she held her ground. She could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on her, not just for herself, but for anyone who had ever faced discrimination. "You may think you have the power here, but I deserve to be treated with respect," she replied, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions inside her. Jessica's expression hardened, and she stepped closer, her posture exuding authority. "This lounge is reserved for our elite clientele. You need to understand that not everyone is meant to be here." The dismissive tone in her voice made it clear that she believed Olivia did not fit the mold of a valued guest. Yet Olivia refused to back down. She felt a surge of determination rising within her. "You don't know who I am or what I've accomplished," she stated, her voice gaining strength. "I belong here just as much as anyone else." Around them, the atmosphere shifted. Some guests began to whisper among themselves, clearly divided on the situation. A woman seated at the bar raised her eyebrows in surprise, while a man in a suit leaned forward, intrigued by Olivia's defiance. Jessica, realizing the growing attention, attempted to regain control of the situation. "I suggest you leave now, or I will have no choice but to call security," she repeated, her voice laced with frustration. Feeling both humiliated and empowered, Olivia turned away from Jessica's imposing figure. She knew she didn't want to escalate the situation further, but she couldn't shake the feeling of injustice. As she walked out of the lounge, her hands clenched into fists, she felt a mixture of anger and determination. She wouldn't let this incident define her. She would find a way to make her voice heard. Once in the hallway, Olivia leaned against the wall to collect her thoughts.
The embarrassment of being confronted in such a public manner weighed heavily on her, but she also felt a fire igniting within her. She couldn't let Jessica's prejudice dictate her experience any longer. In that moment, she made a decision. Olivia pulled out her phone and dialed her father, David Evans, the mayor of the city. As the phone rang, she could feel her heart pounding in her chest. This was not just about her, it was about standing up against the discrimination that had plagued so many. "Dad, I need your help," she said, as soon as he answered. "I just had a terrible experience at the hotel. The manager, she treated me like I didn't belong there." David's voice turned serious. "What happened, Olivia? Tell me everything." As Olivia recounted the events, she felt a sense of relief. Her father's unwavering support and commitment to justice provided her with the strength she needed to face the challenges ahead. She wasn't alone in this fight. With her father by her side, she was ready to confront the discrimination she had faced and to demand the respect she deserved. After relaying her distressing experience to her father, David Evans, Olivia felt a wave of relief wash over her. David, a dedicated mayor known for his commitment to equality, listened intently as Olivia shared the details of the humiliating encounter with Jessica, the hotel manager. "I'll be there right away," he said firmly. "Stay put, Olivia. We need to address this situation directly." The determination in his voice reassured her, and she realized that she had someone powerful on her side. As Olivia waited in the hotel lobby, she felt a mix of anxiety and anticipation. The luxurious surroundings, which had initially filled her with excitement, now felt oppressive. The marble floors and elegant chandeliers seemed to mock her as she replayed the scene with Jessica in her mind. She could feel the eyes of other guests on her, some filled with curiosity, others tinged with sympathy. When David arrived, he exuded authority. Dressed in a sharp suit, he walked into the lobby with purpose, immediately drawing attention. The atmosphere shifted as guests recognized the mayor, their expressions turning from idle curiosity to respect. David approached Olivia, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Let's handle this," he said, his voice steady. Together they made their way to the front desk, where Jessica stood, her earlier confidence visibly shaken by the arrival of the mayor. "Jessica," David began, his tone calm yet commanding, "we need to talk about how my daughter was treated here today." Jessica's composure faltered as she realized who Olivia's father was. The disdain that had previously colored her interactions faded, replaced by nervousness. I didn't mean to cause any offense," she stammered, her voice lacking its usual authority. Olivia felt a surge of empowerment as she watched her father confront the very person who had belittled her. "This isn't just about me, Jessica. This is about ensuring that everyone, regardless of their appearance, is treated with respect in your establishment," Olivia interjected, her voice steady and unwavering. Guests in the lobby began to take notice, their heads turning as they whispered among themselves. A group of business people who had been waiting nearby observed the exchange with interest, while a woman seated in a plush armchair nodded in agreement, her expression one of support. David continued, "It's unacceptable for anyone to feel unwelcome in a place they have paid to stay. You need to understand the impact of your actions." Jessica shifted uncomfortably, her hands clasped tightly in front of her. "I understand," she replied, her voice quieter now. "I will make sure this doesn't happen again." As the confrontation unfolded, Olivia felt a weight lift from her shoulders. While she knew that the fight against discrimination was far from over, she was grateful to have her father's support in this moment. David turned back to her and said, "We'll make sure the hotel implements better policies moving forward. Olivia, you deserve to feel welcome wherever you go." With a sense of determination, Olivia nodded, feeling the support of her father and the growing awareness of those around her. This experience, while painful, was turning into a catalyst for change, and she was ready to take a stand for herself and for others who had faced similar challenges. With the confrontation still fresh in the air, David turned to Jessica, his expression resolute. "I expect a formal apology to be issued to my daughter, and I want to discuss how we can implement training for your staff to prevent this kind of discrimination in the future." "Jessica, visibly shaken by the presence of the mayor and the weight of the situation, nodded slowly. "Of course, Mr. Evans. I understand the seriousness of this matter, and I will take full responsibility. I'll arrange a meeting with the hotel's management to discuss how we can improve our policies and ensure that every guest feels valued." As David spoke, several guests nearby began to murmur in agreement, their expressions reflecting a mix of support and indignation at what Olivia had experienced. A group of women sitting at a nearby table looked on with admiration, while a couple of businessmen exchanged approving nods, clearly impressed by the mayor's handling of the situation. Olivia felt a swell of gratitude toward her father. His presence not only provided her with the support she needed, but also amplified her voice in a space where she had felt silenced. "Thank you for standing up for me, Dad," she said, her voice tinged with emotion. "Always, Olivia," he replied, his gaze steady. "You've worked hard to achieve your place in this industry, and you deserve to be treated with respect." As they walked away from the front desk, Olivia couldn't help but feel a sense of empowerment. The incident had ignited a fire within her, and she was determined to use her voice to advocate for herself and others who faced similar hardships. She realized that this experience, while painful, could serve as a catalyst for change not only within the hotel but also in the wider community. "Let's not stop here," David suggested as they made their way to the hotel lounge. "We should consider organizing an event to raise awareness about inclusivity and discrimination in the hospitality industry. Your story could inspire others to speak out." Olivia's heart raced at the idea. "I'd love that, Dad. It would be a great way to turn this negative experience into something positive." The prospect of using her experience to affect change filled her with hope. As they entered the lounge, Olivia noticed the atmosphere had shifted. Guests who had witnessed the confrontation now looked at her with newfound respect and empathy. A woman approached them, a warm smile on her face. "I just wanted to say that what you did was incredibly brave. Thank you for standing up for yourself," she said, her voice filled with sincerity. Olivia felt a sense of validation in that moment. It was clear that her experience had resonated with others, and she was not alone in her fight against discrimination. With her father by her side, and the support of those around her, Olivia was ready to take the next step in her journey, one that would not only empower her but also advocate for change in the world of hospitality. After the tense exchange with Jessica, Olivia felt a renewed sense of purpose. With her father's support, she was determined to turn the negative experience into a powerful statement about inclusivity and respect in the hospitality industry. As they stepped into the lounge, Olivia noticed the atmosphere had shifted. Whispers of admiration and support surrounded her. David turned to Olivia with a thoughtful expression. "I think it's essential that we not only address what happened here but also create a platform for discussions on discrimination and inclusivity." He paused, gauging her reaction. "What do you think about organizing an event that focuses on these issues?" Olivia's eyes lit up with enthusiasm. "That sounds amazing, Dad. We could invite speakers, share stories, and really make a difference." The idea of using her voice to inspire change filled her with excitement. As they discussed possible plans, a man approached them. He introduced himself as Michael, a local business owner who had been observing the situation. "I just wanted to commend both of you for how you handled that confrontation," he said, his tone respectful. "It takes courage to stand up against discrimination, and I'm inspired by your determination." Olivia smiled, feeling encouraged by Michael's words. "Thank you. It's important that we all stand together against unfair treatment." David added, "We're hoping to create a movement that raises awareness and fosters a more inclusive environment for everyone in our community." Michael nodded enthusiastically. "I'd love to help with that. My business focuses on community outreach, and I can connect you with others who are passionate about this cause." With newfound support, Olivia felt invigorated. The idea of an event was taking shape, and she could already see the potential for change. They exchanged contact information, and Olivia felt a sense of solidarity growing among them. Later that evening, Olivia received a call from Mr. Clark, one of the key organizers of the business conference she had planned to attend. "Olivia, I heard about your encounter at the hotel," he said, his voice warm and encouraging. I want you to know that we would be honored to have you speak at the conference. Your experience is important, and we believe it could resonate with many attendees. Overwhelmed with gratitude, Olivia replied, I would love to speak. Thank you for this opportunity. The prospect of sharing her story on such a significant platform filled her with determination. As she hung up the phone, Olivia reflected on how far she had come since that uncomfortable moment in the hotel lounge. With her father's support, the community's encouragement, and the chance to make her voice heard, she felt empowered to turn her experience into a force for good. The next few weeks were filled with planning and collaboration. Olivia connected with various organizations and speakers, all dedicated to fostering inclusivity and respect. The event started to take shape, and excitement buzzed around the community as people rallied behind the cause. On the day of the conference, Olivia stood before a crowd of eager faces, her heart racing with anticipation. She shared her story, detailing the challenges she faced and the importance of standing up against discrimination. The audience listened intently, nodding in agreement and showing their support. As Olivia finished her speech, the room erupted in applause. In that moment, she felt a profound sense of accomplishment. Not only had she found her voice, but she had also inspired others to speak out against injustice. The event marked the beginning of a movement dedicated to fostering inclusivity and respect in the hospitality industry and beyond. With her father by her side and a supportive community rallying behind her, Olivia knew that she had turned a painful experience into a powerful catalyst for change. Together, they would continue to fight against discrimination, ensuring that everyone, regardless of their background, felt welcomed and valued.